The holographic display in the United Earth Defense Command Center flickered with thousands of incoming signals. Admiral Elena Chen stood motionless, her weathered face illuminated by the crimson warning indicators that filled the room. The Arcadian warships had just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, their massive forms blotting out the stars behind them. "They're earlier than expected," Chen muttered, though her voice betrayed no surprise. She'd been waiting for this moment for 27 years. The Arcadian transmission cut through all frequencies, their leader's multi-tone voice resonating through the command center. "Humans of Earth, your existence has become an impediment to galactic progress. Your primitive technology and resistance to joining the Arcadian Empire cannot be tolerated. Surrender now, and we will ensure your species survives as productive members of our society. Resist, and we will reduce your world to ash." The corner of Chen's mouth twitched upward slightly. The Arcadians, like so many before them, had made the fatal mistake of believing their own propaganda. They saw Earth's visible technology, the clumsy-looking ships, the outdated defense platforms, the seemingly primitive orbital installations, and assumed they knew everything about humanity's capabilities. "Signal the Lazarus Protocol," Chen commanded. Around the world, deep beneath the oceans, buried in mountain ranges, and hidden in plain sight within asteroid bases, humanity's real military might begin to stir. The Arcadians had spent decades studying Earth, but they'd only seen what humanity wanted them to see. Every primitive satellite contained quantum processors that made Arcadian computers look like children's toys. Every outdated defense platform housed weaponry that had been specifically engineered to counter Arcadian shield technology. Even Earth's atmosphere had been seeded with billions of microscopic machines, waiting for this very moment. "Admiral," her XO reported, "Ghost Fleet is reporting ready. Quantum mesh is online. The swarm is awakening." Chen nodded, remembering the day 27 years ago, when humanity had intercepted the first Arcadian probe at the edge of the solar system. Instead of destroying it, they'd fed it carefully crafted misinformation. Every leaked transmission, every observable technology, every diplomatic interaction had been part of an elaborate deception. "Send our response," Chen ordered. Across every frequency, in perfect Arcadian language, Earth's message was simple. "Since you chose war, prepare for the consequences. You never bothered to ask why no empire before yours managed to conquer Earth. You're about to find out." The first wave of Arcadian ships entered the orbit of Neptune, their weapons charging. They never saw the quantum-shifted vessels emerging from within the planet's storms. They never detected the swarms of microdrones that had already infiltrated their hull seams. They never realized that humanity had turned the entire solar system into one vast trap. As the battle began, Chen thought about how the Arcadians, like so many others, had fundamentally misunderstood humanity. They saw Earth's isolation from galactic affairs as weakness. They interpreted humanity's reluctance to share technology as technological inferiority. They mistook patience for passivity. "All units," Chen broadcast, "execute Operation Prometheus. Show them why humanity has survived every invasion for the past 10,000 years." The space around Neptune erupted with weapons that defied Arcadian physics. Quantum-entangled missiles passed straight through their shields. Temporal disruptors aged their hull plates 1,000 years in seconds. Consciousness transfer beams gave their AI systems existential crisis. As the first Arcadian ships began to fall, Chen received reports from across the solar system. The hidden cities were emerging. The orbital defense rings were revealing their true forms. Earth's actual military might, concealed for generations, was finally showing itself. "Send one final message to the Arcadian command," Chen ordered. "Tell them, this is what happens when you mistake preparation for weakness. We could have been allies. Now, you'll be an example." The real war was just beginning, and humanity was finally free to show the galaxy exactly what they had become while everyone else was underestimating them. 10 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean floor, Dr. Sarah Patel stood in the control center of Installation Zero, watching as centuries of careful planning unfolded. On the quantum blast displays surrounding her, she could see similar facilities activating across Earth and throughout the solar system. Phase 2 initialization at 97%, reported her AI assistant, AI. The Arcadians are still attempting to penetrate our outer defense grid. They remain unaware of the subsurface networks. Patel allowed herself a small smile. Project Legacy, humanity's greatest secret, had begun as a response to the first alien contact over 300 years ago. While the public face of humanity played the role of a struggling young species, the underground networks of research facilities had pushed the boundaries of science far beyond what any alien civilization had imagined possible. "Show me the Arcadian reaction to the Neptune engagement," she requested. The displays shifted, showing the enemy fleet's frantic communications. Their carefully planned invasion was unraveling as they encountered weapons and defenses that shouldn't have been possible according to their understanding of physics. In the depths of Installation Zero, rows of quantum cores hummed to life, each one containing processing power greater than the entire Arcadian Empire's computer networks combined. These were the true children of human innovation, machines that thought in 11 dimensions, that could predict probable futures and calculate the optimal response to any tactical situation. Dr. Patel, Araya announced, "The synthesis chamber is ready. Shall we begin production?" The synthesis chamber was perhaps humanity's most closely guarded secret. While other species built their ships in space docks, humanity had learned to grow them, using a combination of biological and technological processes that created vessels that were almost alive. These ships could heal themselves, evolve in response to damage, and think independently. "Begin the birthing sequence," Patel commanded. "Release the first wave of leviathans." Deep beneath the ocean floor, massive chambers began to pulse with energy. The leviathans, part ship, part organism, all weapon, started to awaken. Each one was the size of a small city, but they had remained undetectable thanks to quantum camouflage technology that bent reality around them. On her displays, Patel watched as the Arcadian fleet pushed past Neptune, believing they had merely encountered an advanced defensive line. They had no idea that humanity's real defenses hadn't even been activated yet. The Neptune engagement had been handled entirely by automated systems, a mere fraction of Earth's military capability. "Araya, initiate the solar array," Patel ordered. Throughout the solar system, seemingly innocent solar research stations began to transform. What the Arcadians had dismissed as primitive energy collection devices revealed themselves as nodes in a vast weapon network. Each station was capable of harnessing and directing the sun's energy with precise control. The first Leviathan emerged from its underground berth, rising through the ocean like a metal mountain coming to life. Its surface rippled with adaptive armor that could respond to any weapon. Its neural networks contained the combined tactical knowledge of every military leader in human history. It was a testament to how far humanity had come while hiding their true progress from the galaxy. "The Arcadian command ship is requesting communication," Araya reported. "They seem disturbed by the Leviathan's emergence." "Accept the transmission," Patel replied, curious to hear what they would say now that the first layer of humanity's deception had been peeled away. The Arcadian Supreme Commander's hologram appeared, his typically stoic features showing clear signs of stress. "What are you?" he demanded. "These technologies, they should not be possible. You were supposed to be primitive." Patel's response was calm, but carried the weight of centuries of human preparation. "We are what we had to become. Every species that discovered Earth either tried to conquer us or exploit us, so we learned to hide our true nature. We advanced in secret, knowing this day would come. Your invasion fleet is facing technology we considered outdated 50 years ago." The Arcadian commander's multiple eyes widened. "The outer system defenses were automated responses," Patel finished for him. "Our actual military hasn't engaged you yet. What you're seeing now, the Leviathans, the solar array, The quantum networks. This is humanity revealing its first hand. We have many more. As if to emphasize her point, more leviathans began surfacing across Earth's oceans. The solar array stations completed their transformation, forming a web of energy that could redirect the power of a star. And deep within Installation Zero, even more advanced weapons were preparing to deploy. You have a choice, Paddle continued. The same choice we've given every would-be conqueror. Retreat now while you still can, or face the full extent of human ingenuity. We've spent centuries preparing for this moment. How many centuries are you willing to spend learning why that was a mistake? Within the quantum-shifted space surrounding Jupiter, Fleet Commander Maya Rodriguez watched as the Leviathans took up their attack positions. The massive biomechanical vessels moved with an elegance that belied their size, their living metal hulls shifting and flowing like liquid mercury. All synthesis units report combat ready, her tactical officer announced. The Arcadian fleet is still regrouping after their encounter with the Neptune defense grid. They appear to be attempting to analyze our technology. Rodriguez knew they would fail. Humanity's true technology didn't operate on principles the Arcadians could understand. While they had focused on mastering three-dimensional space, humanity had learned to manipulate reality itself. Begin Operation Hydra, she ordered. Release the nanite clouds. Across the solar system, trillions of microscopic machines activated. They had been seeded throughout space over decades, disguised as ordinary cosmic dust. Now they began to swarm, targeting Arcadian ships with frightening precision. The nanites didn't just attack the vessels, they began to transform them. Quantum Entanglement Network is fully operational, reported ARIA's combat instance. We have successfully infiltrated 60% of the Arcadian fleet's neural systems. The Arcadian ships began to respond erratically as their computer systems encountered human AI for the first time. Unlike the rigid, hierarchical artificial intelligences used by the Arcadians, human AIs had evolved through centuries of simulated warfare. They thought laterally, creatively, and most importantly, they could improvise. Rodriguez watched as the first wave of Leviathans engaged the enemy. The bioships didn't fire conventional weapons. Instead, they projected fields of altered physics around the Arcadian vessels. Space itself began to work differently within these fields. Energy weapons dissipated harmlessly. Matter behaved according to different rules. Shield systems protected against the wrong things. They're launching their primary attack squadrons, her tactical officer reported. Threat analysis suggests they're deploying their planet killer weapons. Perfect. Rodriguez smiled. Activate the Jupiter trap. For centuries, humanity had been secretly modifying the gas giant. What appeared to be natural storms and atmospheric patterns were actually vast machines built on a planetary scale. As the Arcadian fleet moved into position to launch their attack on Earth, Jupiter's atmosphere began to change. The Great Red Spot, that centuries-old storm, revealed its true nature. It wasn't a storm at all. It was an artificial construct that could generate gravitational singularities on command. As the Arcadian fleet passed by, thinking they were using Jupiter's gravity to slingshot their planet-killer weapons toward Earth, the trap was sprung. Targeted gravity wells began to appear throughout the Jovian system. Arcadian ships found themselves caught in impossible gravitational fields, their engines useless against forces that shouldn't have existed. The nanite swarms took advantage of their immobility, boring through hulls and transforming Arcadian technology from within. "Ma'am," her communications officer called out, "we're receiving thousands of surrender signals from individual Arcadian ships. Their command structure is breaking down." Rodriguez nodded. This was expected. Human intelligence had long ago identified the weak point in Arcadian society. Their rigid hierarchy couldn't adapt to situations that fell outside their strategic doctrine. When faced with weapons and tactics they couldn't understand, their entire command structure began to collapse. "Deploy the mediators," she ordered. The mediators were another hybrid creation, part diplomat, part AI, part quantum computer. They began broadcasting to individual Arcadian ships, offering them a choice: surrender and join humanity's defensive alliance, or continue fighting against forces they couldn't comprehend. On her primary display, Rodriguez watched as more and more Arcadian ships powered down their weapons. The nanites had already begun transforming these surrendered vessels, upgrading them with human technology. The crews would soon discover that humanity's offer wasn't just about survival, it was about evolution. "Send word to Earth Command," Rodriguez commanded. "Phase 3 is proceeding as planned. The Arcadian fleet is neutralized, and we're beginning the integration process." As she spoke, the Leviathans moved into their secondary formation. They weren't just weapons, they were seeds. Each one carried within it the templates for new technologies, new ways of thinking, new possibilities. The surrendered Arcadian ships and their crews would be the first to receive these gifts. "It's almost disappointing," her tactical officer mused. "All their threats, all their superiority, and they never realized they were fighting a war that was won centuries ago." Rodriguez shook her head. "No war is won until the peace is secured. Now comes the hard part, showing them why humanity chose to hide its strength for so long. We didn't do this to conquer. We did it to protect, to preserve, to progress. The Arcadians are about to learn the difference between dominance and leadership." The Arcadian Supreme Leader, Valthoris, stood in his command center aboard the last untouched flagship of his once mighty fleet, watching as his empire crumbled. The holographic displays showed the impossible: Arcadian colony worlds making contact with Earth, requesting the same technological integration that the surrendered fleet had received. "Supreme Leader," his chief strategist reported, voice trembling, "we're receiving reports from the homeworld. The public has accessed the neural broadcasts from our transformed ships. They're demanding we open diplomatic channels with Earth." Valthoris felt the weight of generations of Arcadian military doctrine dissolving around him. Their society had been built on the principle of technological superiority, yet here they were, facing a species that had hidden its true capabilities for centuries. The implications were staggering. In Earth's quantum-shifted command center, Admiral Chen watched the dissolution of the Arcadian Empire with careful attention. "Begin Phase 4, she ordered. "Show them what we really built while we were pretending to be primitive." Throughout the galaxy, cloaked human outposts began to reveal themselves. What alien civilizations had dismissed as random astronomical phenomena were actually vast networks of human observation posts and research stations. Humanity hadn't just been hiding on Earth, they had been everywhere, watching, learning, preparing. The Leviathans, now spread throughout Arcadian space, began their secondary protocol. Their living metal forms released clouds of quantum-encoded information, sharing centuries of human scientific advancement. But it wasn't just technology they were sharing. It was a fundamentally different way of thinking about civilization itself. "Admiral," Dr. Patel's hologram appeared in the command center. "The synthesis process has begun in the Arcadian core systems. Their quantum signature is changing." The synthesis was perhaps humanity's greatest achievement, the ability to merge biological, technological, and quantum systems into something entirely new. The surrendered Arcadian ships hadn't just been upgraded, they had been transformed into hybrid entities that could perceive and interact with reality in ways their builders had never imagined. On thousands of Arcadian worlds, citizens watched in awe as their cities began to change. The nanite swarms, now welcomed rather than feared, began restructuring their technology, their architecture, even their basic infrastructure. But unlike the conquering armies they had expected from Earth, these changes came with knowledge, with understanding, with choice. "They're beginning to understand," Chen observed, watching the feeds from across Arcadian space. "Show them the gateway." In orbit around Saturn, a massive structure began to phase into normal space. The gateway was humanity's masterpiece, a construct that could create stable wormholes to any point in the galaxy. It had been there for over a century, hidden by technology that the Arcadians had thought impossible. Valthoris watched as the gateway activated, creating a bridge between Earth and the Arcadian homeworld. But instead of an invasion force, what emerged was an offer. Access to a network of such gateways, already established throughout the galaxy, waiting to connect civilizations rather than conquer them. "Your empire is not ending, Supreme Leader," came the transmission from Earth. "It's evolving. We hid our advancement not out of fear, but because we needed to know who would be ready to join us as equals rather than try to dominate us as conquerors." In Installation 0, Dr. Patel monitored the quantum signatures of the transforming Arcadian civilization. The changes were happening faster than expected. Their society was adapting, embracing the new possibilities that human technology offered. What had started as an invasion was becoming a renaissance. "All monitoring stations report positive integration," Araya announced. "The Arcadian population is accepting the changes at a rate of 99.3%. Their rigid social structure is dissolving, replaced by something more human." Chen nodded. "Send the final message to all Arcadian worlds. Welcome to the next stage of galactic civilization. You tried to conquer us, but instead, you're about to help us change the universe." The breaking point had come, not in destruction, but in transformation. The Arcadian Empire hadn't been defeated. It had been upgraded, its people given access to technologies and ideas that their military hierarchy would never have allowed them to discover on their own. In his command center, Valthoris made the decision that would define his species' future. He opened a direct channel to Earth and spoke the words that generations of Arcadian leaders had thought impossible. "We acknowledge your superiority, not in conquest, but in vision. Teach us." 1 year after the failed Arcadian invasion, the Great Hall of Installation 0 hosted an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from every major galactic civilization sat in quantum-linked chambers, their forms projected through space and time to witness humanity's final revelation. Admiral Chen stood before them, her uniform bearing both Earth's insignia and the new symbol of the galactic synthesis, a double helix intertwined with a quantum probability wave. Behind her, the massive quantum displays showed real-time feeds from across the galaxy. Arcadian cities gleaming with new technologies, former warships now serving as exploration vessels, and countless worlds connected by the Gateway Network. For 10,000 years, Chen began. Humanity prepared for this moment. We watched as empires rose and fell. We saw civilizations destroy themselves through war, through greed, through fear of the unknown. We learned from every attempt to conquer Earth, from every failed invasion, from every diplomatic mission that sought to exploit us. The displays shifted, showing the true extent of human influence throughout the galaxy. Hidden outposts became visible, revealing that humanity had been silently guiding galactic development for centuries. What appeared to be natural phenomena were actually vast networks of quantum computers, processing power beyond anything other species had imagined possible. In the Arcadian capital, former Supreme Leader Valthoris watched the transmission with new understanding. His people had undergone the most dramatic transformation in their history, but it hadn't been forced upon them. Humanity had simply shown them possibilities they had never imagined, then helped them achieve what they chose to become. The synthesis was never about technology alone, Dr. Patel explained, stepping forward to join Chen. It was about evolution, not just of bodies or machines, but of consciousness itself. We hid our advancement not out of fear, but because we needed to understand who was ready to take the next step. The quantum displays showed the fruits of this evolution. Hybrid beings that existed across multiple dimensions, cities that thought and grew, ships that could dream. But more importantly, they showed societies learning to cooperate in ways their former hierarchies would never have allowed. Today, Chen continued, we reveal humanity's true purpose. We are not conquerors or rulers. We are gardeners, cultivating the seeds of a new kind of civilization. The Arcadian Empire's attempt to invade Earth wasn't a failure. It was the final test we needed to begin the next phase. Throughout the gallery, representatives from countless species watched as humanity unveiled its greatest creation, the Universal Synthesis Network. It wasn't just a technology or a weapon. It was a new way of existing, a bridge between organic life, artificial intelligence, and quantum reality. Your civilizations have all reached the same crossroads, Paddle explained. You've developed technology that could destroy worlds. You've created AI that could replace you. You've discovered quantum mechanics that challenge your understanding of reality. These aren't problems to be solved. They're tools for transcendence. The displays showed the future humanity had been building toward, a galaxy where consciousness could flow freely between organic and artificial forms, where reality itself could be shaped by collective will, where the boundaries between species dissolved not through conquest, but through understanding. This is humanity's victory, Chen declared, not over you, but for you. We hid our power not because we feared yours, but because we needed you to discover your own strength. The price of this victory isn't submission, it's evolution. In that moment, the gathered representatives began to understand. Earth hadn't been isolating itself. It had been incubating the future. The seemingly primitive planet had been a chrysalis, containing within it the blueprint for galactic transformation. The choice remains yours, Paddle concluded. We offer not conquest, but conversation. Not subjugation, but synthesis. Not the end of your civilizations, but their transcendence. As the transmission ended, the representatives faced a decision that would reshape the galaxy. But unlike the Arcadian invasion that had triggered this revelation, it wasn't a choice between surrender and destruction. It was an invitation to join humanity in redefining what civilization could become. In orbit around Earth, the first of the new synthesis vessels prepared to depart. They carried within them not weapons or armies, but the seeds of transformation. Their mission was not to conquer or control, but to offer every world, every species, every consciousness the same choice humanity had faced millennia ago, to evolve beyond the boundaries of their own creation. The war that had begun with an invasion ended not with the defeat of an empire, but with the birth of something entirely new. Humanity had revealed its greatest secret, that true power lay not in the ability to destroy or dominate, but in the capacity to transform and transcend. The final message broadcast across the galaxy was simple: welcome to the next chapter of existence. The real journey is just beginning.